Hey folks, super happy to bring you another WoW Alpha Classic leveling video. Yesterday's upload was a little bit delayed because I went out drinking on Friday and I needed some time to recover, so I only uploaded it by 10 p.m. last night, so if you missed that, make sure to also check it out. Today we are actually, as you can see here on the screen, we're using the /who function and we find someone. So after checking for 3 times and verifying that, this is not a dream, there's actually someone else playing here, I message him with a little question about how to get to Durotar. I mean, I was fairly certain that I knew the answer, but, just gotta strike up a conversation, wouldn't want to spook this deer in the wild. I guess, I don't know what there is to be said about people playing a WoW Alpha server at this point, so maybe he doesn't like company or whatever, so it's just careful to strike up a conversation there. But the guy was actually quite happy to see someone, as was I. So we were chatting back and forth over the next couple of minutes, just, sharing our experiences with the server. And he is letting me know that he went, even though he rolled Tauren, he went to Undercity / Tirisfal for quests because he can't fit inside any of the doors in Orgrimmar, which is obviously a little bit of an issue. As that's happening, we are, getting along with our next quest. It's the Lich's Identity of Gunther Arcanus, the guy here on the island. So we steal the book from right under his nose and he doesn't seem to mind. That being completed, we move on to pick some more peace blooms, as our warrior friend lets us know that he thinks armor values on items are completely messed up. Apparently he's getting less armor from some items than I am getting from cloth, so I don't know what's up with that. Must have been a work in progress at that point in the alpha. As we're going ahead to, kill our second captain, I think it is, we are definitely being a little bit more careful here because I remember dying here once or twice back in the day when I was still new to WoW in general. And we pull with the sleep. This time they're actually linked, so the sleep actually does something for us. But yeah, it's quite a tough fight. The guy is, I think, a level above us, and he has a friend with him. And we're getting some unlucky resists, as you can see. So we are gonna be, yeah, we're getting shield bashed even. So using a potion, trying to use a power word shield that didn't succeed. There was some issue with the unit frame up there. And we're trying to get him down, but like they're bursting through our shield pretty quickly. And as you can see here, we're almost dying just after meeting someone and inviting him to our group. He hasn't made his way here yet, and I still wanted to get the quest done on my own because this is a hardcore playthrough. And, I wanted to be as legit as possible without not, using the opportunity of showcasing some group play for you guys. So that's why I wasn't sweating it so hard. Second turnaround, we decide to actually sleep the big guy and just burst through the caster, which obviously always a good strategy, and that should work out much better for us. Excuse me as I take a sip from my coffee. So as you can see, we burst through the friar pretty easily, and now we just have to deal with the captain. He's once again resisting quite a lot, which makes me feel like maybe these guys have some holy resistance. Fun fact about the whole resistance business, by the way, in WoW Classic, the actual released version, holy resistance was being governed by arcane resistance. Now here in the talents, you can actually skill into holy affinity, which will, I forgot what exactly it does. I think it reduces the enemy's chance to resist your holy spells, but interestingly, it also reduces your resistance to shadow spells. So you gain 4 more spell pen, I guess you could say, and you lose 2 resistance to shadow. So as we kill the captain, we actually pull 2 more mobs, sleep 1, really nice spell here. The good thing about this spell, by the way, is that if you used it correctly in a one-on-one situation with any mob that's not sleep resistant, you would actually be able to sit and drink or do whatever you want in combat. There is no such thing as a restriction from drinking or eating in combat. I could also just shield myself and sit down for like a swig here as well. It wouldn't get interrupted. So, there's plenty of ways to kind of game the system. Another thing that I was thinking about is, how there's a bunch of low-level items that have strength and agility but are cloth. Well, there was planned to be sort of a monk build in the discipline tree. Well, by the way, here's our Tauren friend that we just met for the first time in all his glory. Looks pretty good to me. He seems quite tall. I'm not sure if they scaled down the models a little bit, and that's why, Tauren have not so many issues with fitting through doors in the live version. But yeah, so what I was saying about the monk skill in the plant discipline tree, there are a lot of items that have strength and agility, and seeing how also the cast interacts with the swing timer, it not being reset, and the fact that my holy inner fire spell actually not only increases my armor, but it also increases my melee damage, makes me think that, there was a melee priest kind of deal planned. And we got the monk as its own class in Mists of Pandaria, obviously. But it looks like they had, something in mind for a melee priest. And that is also supported by the talent system that's a lot more open. Like, you can skill into any stat that you want, and you have no stat gain per se, just mana and health as you level up. So that's a little bit more of a classless kind of, Ascension WoW kind of deal here in the alpha, which I find very interesting. On your screen here, you will see what our Tauren friend warned us about. He really has trouble fitting through doors. So I decided to include that for your viewing pleasure, because I had quite some fun watching him struggle with that, actually. So he finally makes it through, and yeah, we weren't being very smart about this. We could have just dueled. He could have just charged me through the door. That would have been no problem whatsoever. So don't worry about that, because we will actually figure it out in a bit. We're showcasing the old trade window here, quite interestingly, I think. And he asked me to help him with Agaman's Mills, which we will. You can see him zoom along here. This is the Tauren racial ability called Bull Rush. I don't think it is distinct from the Plains Running. I think they would have gotten that also, but obviously you can't make it to level 40 on the alpha, so we won't see that most likely. I mean, you can through console commands, but not on the server because they're not enabled. So he says that even though there's a quest mob that I need in this house, there's no way he's going through that door because he might never make it out again. So we decide to just pull the mob and bring him down. We're getting another resist. There is a lot of resisting going on. This is an issue with holy spells in Classic as well. As I said, holy skills are being governed by arcane resistance, and somehow they are, there is a higher chance of arcane and holy being resisted than the other schools of magic in PvE, which I find quite interesting. So as we chug along, teaming up has its pitfalls, because I pull a quest mob, he's fighting, and I aggro this caster as well. So as you can see here, like, I'm fairly squishy. I didn't invest anything in extra stamina or health points, and I almost go down here. So what saves me is a potion, and our friend, he does hit pretty hard, by the way. Like, the warrior's damage is not bad at all. And here we decide to do a little special pull because he wanted to, and I can't say no. So he's going through the crypt with Bull Rush. He has engineering. By the way, he told me that you can have every profession in the game. There's no limit on how many professions you can have. So he runs through the crypt with Bull Rush, and I shield him because there is no cooldown on the shield, or there's no weakened soul debuff. And there's also no cooldown on the bombs, so in theory we should be able to AoE farm these mobs quite handily. But as you can see here, I have a threat from 2 mobs, and he is going down quite quickly. So we almost, like, he dies, and I leg it, I get dazed, I drop very, very, very low. And thankfully, we just somehow managed to get away through the valiant sacrifice of our Tauren friend. And as I said last time around, I didn't skill Resurrection because I wasn't expecting to find someone. So, I'm very sorry for our friend, but he's gonna have to make the trek back here. Interestingly enough, if you release your spirit, you will respawn at the binding stone immediately. You don't have to run back to your corpse, and your corpse will stick around. It won't actually deteriorate into a skeleton as it does when someone respawns. So him being gone, we have the opportunity of looting everything, but it's not too big of a deal, I believe, because we didn't really get anything too useful out of it, and obviously I would have shared it with him anyways. But to be honest, I found that quite interesting. That was, well, not the most advanced strategy. I guess it's quite basic at this point, but to see that, you know, you can pull it off in the alpha, and to know that bombs don't have any cooldown, that's obviously very, very crazy. So if I were to play this more, I would probably go into engineering, which I'm not sure yet. I mean, I will definitely finish this run, and eventually at some point in the future I will show some other class off, probably an alliance race. But even though it's very enjoyable and I really like looking, you know, at this lens through history, gaming history, I kind of need to play something else after this, because as I said, I'm on a constant 400 ms ping. It's very, very clunky. And yeah, you know, it gets a bit taxing. Also, I will say that since I had some feedback of people complaining that the footage is stretched, I personally don't mind it at all. I prefer it being a little bit stretched and not having black bars, but obviously that's personal preference. So for those of you that were complaining, I hear you. I will play on 4.3 for at least one episode. I did some recording in 4.3 yesterday, but that means that I have to basically play it like in a small window, and it is quite straining on the eyes. I do see that the proportions look better and the graphics look a little bit better, but you know, once I show it, I will ask you for feedback in the comments, and depending on, you know, the feedback, or if people really think that it's so much better, I will continue to actually record in 4.3, but for the time being, until we catch up with where I am at right now, it's gonna be stretched, and after that we'll see, you know. So we decide to go forward a bit more carefully into the crypt this time, but carefully means still pulling 4 to 5 mobs, which actually is not a problem. It's really showcasing the power of the priest-warrior duo. That's, you know, I mean, it's probably the most iconic duo in all of WoW Classic. Maybe apart from, well, I think it's the most iconic by far, but the most fun would probably be Warrior Shaman, at least in my eyes, because it's something I have rarely experienced. I always roll Alliance, and last year I was playing Season of Master with a friend, and we were a Shaman and a Warrior, and Wind Fury is great, great, great fun. So yeah, I am morphing a little bit into a Horde favorite here for the Warrior class, but still, I think with Hardcore I will be playing Alliance. And speaking of the actual hardcore release by Blizzard, I have a neat little idea that I will be trying. So I won't say too much yet, but there's going to be some self-imposed rules. There's going to be some limitations on the class that I will be playing. And it should be great, great fun, I hope. And I think that I can make it to 60 that way also. So finally back in Brill, we actually learn Resurrection, and we turn in the quest in the Town Hall. And after that, we're actually getting our own family crypt, but we're not going to be doing that because, you know, I mean, I helped him out just now, but I can always go there later on when I'm higher level and probably hopefully solo it, which, you know, I've had enough of Tears Fall at this point. So we want to head off to Silver Pine next, but since this video is fairly long already, I'll just leave you with some more struggling to get through doors and me laughing at him. So if you do decide to roll Tauren, be prepared to have a lot of patience, or a friend if you're playing Warrior. And yeah, also there is no charge animation yet, so he's basically just ninja teleporting behind everything that he charges, which is quite amusing to see from a, you know, huge Tauren. And I think this is where finally, actually I'm saying that I'll grab a drink, but we do figure out that he can just duel me and go through the door that way. I did also reveal to our friend that I'm trying to do a hardcore playthrough, and he was very, very mad at me for not warning him about that before he did the crypt pull, because he could have ruined everything. But as I said, you know, I can't say no to people, and I would rather go out with a bang than, you know, it's better to quest and die than never to have quested at all, as the tip in the WoW loading screen tells you, and I absolutely subscribe to that. So that's how I play hardcore, you know, if I die, I die. At least we had fun, at least we tried something. Because obviously you can always just hit green mobs and you'll be fine, you know. If you always do green quests, then there's no biggie, you won't die, and you will make it to 60 that way. But that neither makes for good viewing, nor is it very pleasurable in terms of playing it yourself. So finally we figure out, I think here, hopefully in a second, that he can actually duel me, so he should be doing that momentarily. I think earlier I mentioned, you know, warriors being quite powerful. That's because the weapon speed and damage is not normalized. You can have a very, very, very fast weapon that still does high top end damage. That's something that they actually changed later on, I believe. And yeah, well, with that, you know, thank you guys for watching, and I will bring you another video hopefully tomorrow as our friend charges through. I haven't seen him around since we played together, but yeah, tomorrow we're gonna hit at least level 12, maybe even more. And on Tuesday, we should be back in 4-3. So if you like the video, share it with your friends. If you have any, I know us classic players probably don't have any, but if you do, please do share it. And I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, with that, I'll just leave you. So goodbye.